good to see our guy. Paul, I'm told I don't have time for pleasantries, so we're going to dive right in. Just want you to know it's great to see you and we miss you. All right, so we start in South Cali, where Lincoln Riley's tenure at USC has not gone as well as he had hoped. 2 seasons, 19-8 record, but no Pac-12 titles and no college football playoff appearances. Now his team enters the Big Ten with Heisman-winning quarterback Caleb Williams gone, obviously to the NFL. Paul went nuclear on Riley last week. Paul?
I thought last year was one of the worst coaching jobs I have ever seen. Quite frankly, had I been the athletic director at Southern Cal, I would have fired Lincoln Riley because he's yet to show, after many years as a head coach, he knows anything about defense. He's gone through defensive coordinators. He just simply couldn't handle it. And now things are going to be 5 times worse in the Big Ten. On top of that, a number of his top players are bailing out. This is a guy who owned L.A. for about a half a minute, and quite frankly, next year at this time, I think he'll more than likely be an assistant in the NFL if he's that lucky.
Hot take. I don't know who would be a tougher executive to work for, Paul Finebaum or Stephen A. They'd both be firing people left and right, holding everybody accountable. Stephen A., do you agree with what Paul had to say there about Riley?
It's hard to refute what you said, Paul. I would say you're a little bit harsh.
Ooh.
I mean, I was like, ouch,
Ooh,
ouch.
you?
I mean, I must say, I expected you to be a bit kinder. But listen, here's the deal. They started off 6-0. And then after that, this is what USC's defense surrendered. 48-34, 49, 52, 36, 38, and 28. And the 2 games prior to that, when they won games 5 and 6 of the season and starting off to 6-0, they gave up 41 points in both of those games. Having said all of that, here's what I would say about Lincoln Riley, Paul. Only coach to coach 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks, as well as the only coach to have 3 players selected #1 overall in the NFL's common draft era. Won 80% of his games, appeared in 3 college football playoffs. I can't just summarily dismiss that. So I get what you're saying because, damn it, you got to coach defense at some point. I get that. You're in Southern California. You started out 11-3. I get that. Last year you were 8-5. Nothing to brag home about. We get it. And I don't blame you for being harsh to some degree. But I do think we can look at Lincoln Riley and say, okay, we expect better. I think he'll be better. I think we could say that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Stephen A., I get where you're coming from, but to me it's about trajectory. And I think he's lost the momentum. He had that town. Stephen A., you live there a lot of the year. You have to win in L.A., otherwise you lose badly. And I think he's losing badly. And instead of harping on Lincoln Riley, I've decided to come up with a solution. I thought about this the other day. Okay, maybe he does well, maybe he doesn't. But the answer is really moving forward. And I believe the answer after this season is Deion Sanders. He's going to be tired of Colorado because, quite frankly, it's not prime time. He's done well as he can with his son and Travis Hunter and all the Stephen A's and Shannon Sharp appearances. But that's going to dry up this year because they're not going to be that great. But you put prime in Tinseltown, and I think you have one of the great combinations in history. We just got through talking about, or you did, LeBron. LeBron has owned that town as many others before him. And I think Deion Sanders, as the coach at Southern Cal, is the answer to the problems. Lincoln Riley is a good coach. He's got a great resume. Deion Sanders just exudes exactly what that community is all about. He takes the recruiting there, which Lincoln had and then lost, but I think he sustains it, especially now. Today, the Big Ten Media Days is going on with Southern Cal. And can you imagine a year from today, Deion Sanders walks into Big Ten Media Days. Everybody else, get out of the way.
I have no issue with that whatsoever. 0. I mean, I'd love for it to happen now. But what I'm saying is that as porous as Lincoln Riley's defenses have been throughout the years in Oklahoma and USC, it still didn't prevent him from winning an inordinate amount of games and getting his team to the college football playoffs. So to talk about him like he'll be lucky to be an assistant coach
Stephen A.
is a bit cruel.
Stephen A., the defense, he's got to coach defense, 56 offensive touchdowns allowed. That was second most of all the Power 5 schools.
I agree with that, but I did say, despite those defenses, he got them to college football playoffs. All I'm saying is, come on now.
I'd be curious to know if USC brass would be open to Deion, because I like that. I like that little marriage there.
Deion and
fits
Tinseltown,
on many levels.
That works. Because I don't like him in Boulder. I've told him that. I don't like him in Boulder.
No.
So prime time, that's Tinseltown, okay? That's Tinseltown.
I think prime time can go anywhere.